Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. I had a really busy week this past week, but not a lot busy here on the farm. Lots of other outside things to talk about. First was last Saturday. It was Worldwide Knitting in Public Day. I made a last minute decision to catch up with some friends at a pub, a lovely country pub. We had a really great afternoon, had a lunch, and sat inside while it was cold and rainy outside. Did a tiny little bit of knitting, but mostly lots of talking and catching up with our sort of knitting out on the table. Then work-wise this week, it has been crazy busy. For anyone in Victoria who has anything to do with a VCE or a Year 12 or Year 11 student, you will know that it was GAT this past week. So that's like a general test of knowledge which gets used at the end of the year if for any reason a student can't sit one of their exams. And it was craziness at work. So the Monday was all about final preparations, getting everything ready, setting up the rooms. And then Tuesday was the actual testing day, and there were 2 tests over the day. So there was lots of running around in between, getting everything sorted out. And then Wednesday was packing everything up and putting it all away and getting everything back to normal again. So yeah, I had a really busy work week. Then last night I was out again, back at the school. My nephew Sebastian was in another performance. They call it the Den, and they do it every year. It is where all of the music students get to perform, and then they do trivia and things like that in between. It's a really fun night, so we did that. So I felt really social this week, which can be a little bit tiring. So I'm planning to do not a lot today. I have just started the fire, and so I'm keeping a little bit of an eye on it as it starts to catch, and I'll be popping some big logs on soon. And my plan is to sit over here in the shed and knit for most of the day. It is quite cloudy and rainy right now, which is lovely. We have had a reasonably dry week, so to get some rain now is really good. Our smaller dams are starting to fill, so hopefully they'll start to overflow soon and get into our big dam. We have noticed, however, that the back wall of our dam, where we were building it up to be a little bit higher, does seem to be seeping a little bit. So we're going to have to try and figure out a way to stop that from happening so that we can get the dam to its full capacity that we've dug out. But some water in there is better than no water. I will also give you probably the final update on my nose surgery, the lump that was removed from here. So you can go back and look at past episodes. I was all bandaged up for a while there. It is so much better now, and it is starting to not pull quite so much. And same with the graft on the side of my face. So I'm getting more used to it, and it is starting to relax a little bit. So I'm really pleased with how it's going. You can hardly even see it now. So yeah, I'm really glad that I got all that done and out of the way. And we're about at 8 weeks, I think, now since the surgery. So everything has gone really well. Business wise, I have not done a lot these past few weeks. I kind of took a break at the end of Mooroolbark, Yarra Valley Wool and Handicraft Show Market, because that's when I had my nose surgery. And I have really not picked up and done anything since then. I do have a couple of custom orders that I need to do now. Those people know that they are coming. A couple of those orders are on my wispy lace base, which is currently on back order. So I am still waiting for that base to arrive. So meanwhile, I think I will start over the next few weeks to get back into dyeing some sock yarn and some DK yarn. There are particular colorways that I need to build stock back up again. Before I know it, I'll be back at my next market. I will not be at Bendigo. I'm not even sure if I'm going to go as a buyer this year. A lot of my friends who I would normally go with are not going this year. A few of us have had some health issues. A few of us have quite large stashes, and we are in the midst of enjoying what we currently have rather than buying anything new. Um, I would really love to support all of my hand dyeing and yarny friends, but I know that there will be plenty of people who will go and share in that love with them. And so I really hope that if you do go, you have a wonderful time. But as I said, I will not be vending, and I won't have any of my yarn there with anyone else this year either. So I do have to start building back my stocks again. There are particular colorways that I know I need to get going in the dye pots. I should actually do a few dye with me kind of videos. I think that will be fun. I haven't done any of those in quite a while. So that's on my list of things to share with you in the coming weeks and months, as that will be something fun that we can do together. And as it's almost the end of the financial year, I'll be having to count all of my current stock and do my big stock take and all of that boring financial stuff as well. So I'll be spending some time over here in the shed in the next few weeks doing that, and also getting back into the dye pots. And with more rain, I know that the tanks are full, so I will be able to get plenty of dyeing done. The only issue is, of course, that it is cold and damp over here unless I come and pop the fire on. First, to what I'm wearing this week, this is the Radiate by Joji Locatelli. This is the second one of these that I've made. This is out of Bennett and Gregor in it's just a natural brown. I think they called it like wattle or something. And the green is by Colleen's Crafts, and she doesn't have a name for her colorways, but it's a beautiful dark and light variegated green. I made a shorter version, and I put the ribbing around the bottom as well. It is beautifully warm and comfortable. I really love how this jumper looks and how it wears. Clearly, I've made two of them. And now that it is cooler and I've made that decision that I should be wearing my jumpers a lot more, I decided to grab this one this morning. I've been fairly monogamous with my knitting this past week. After finishing the mitts for my mum, I was re-inspired to knit on some socks. So I picked up the DK socks that I had put aside. I had finished one. This is the Pastel Rainbow Lollipop colorway by Heather Made, and I've made very, very long stripy socks. There's my heel there. And I've done a contrasting black heel, toe, and cuff. It's just a rolled cuff though. These are for going in my gumboots. So now that it is wet and cold, I'm inspired to finish them so that I can enjoy wearing them. And so, as I said, I'm knitting the contrast. Can't speak. I'm knitting the contrast in black yarn, and it's a fingering weight that I'm holding double. So while I was at the pub last weekend, I was at the heel, and I started knitting it in a slightly not great pub lighting. Even though we were by a window, it was a little bit dark, and I did a few rows of the first half of the heel, and then I thought, no, this is too hard to see on black yarn in the part dark, so I put it aside. And then I picked it up when I got home and continued on with the heel, thinking that everything was fine. And then I got up to, I think it was the yellow stripe here, where I needed to then go back into the ball that I had ripped back from the first attempt at these socks that I did, that I wasn't happy with the sizing, to pick up the right coloured stripe and keep going to finish the sock. And that's when I realised that I had the wrong number of stitches on the heel side of the sock. I had added 2 stitches. So I'd obviously split the black yarn at some point and knit the double strands as a single. And so I had to rip back from about here somewhere back to the heel, put all my stitches back on my needles, and redo the heel. So I'm glad that I picked it up. I probably wouldn't have if I had been just continuing on with the same ball of yarn. But for some reason, I decided to count at that point. I know why, because I had to rip back the yellow because I wanted to start the yellow fresh down here to make sure that I got the same width of stripe. So I pulled them off the needle, and then when I went to pick it back up, it didn't make any sense. So I have my sock now really almost finished. I only have green, blue, and the two purples to go, and then I will be done. So these should be a finished object next week. So my only other active project is my EXP. So I'm really sorry that I don't have a lot of interesting knitting to show you. I've got some interesting thoughts to share, but I am really enjoying this project, even though it is really slow going. And I think if I do switch to something else at this point, I am probably going to lose my momentum on it and it'll end up sitting. And I've wanted to make this for such a long time that I'm actually really pleased that I'm now really into it. So I think last week when I showed you, I'd only just split for the sleeves. I've now done 3 lots of increases. I've done quite a bit of the body. It is supposed to be cropped. So there isn't, I think in the pattern, there isn't that much more to actually do because it is quite a low drop bat wing sleeve. Because the sleeve is actually only this part here that's on hold, and this piece here you seam together. So it's actually that much body already done. So what I'm going to do is do the last decrease, then I'm going to try it on. Will I try it on? I think I will. And then I only have this much left of my first balls. So I'll probably knit all of that into the body because I think I would like it a little longer than what the pattern calls for. And then I will go ahead and knit the sleeves to pattern, and then I will go back and do any extra body length that I want after that. So as I said, I'm really enjoying it. I think the colorway is beautiful. It is the Callow kit by Louie and Lola, and it just looks fabulous. And I can't wait to wear it. It's actually much lighter fabric than I thought it was going to be. I thought this would be more of a sort of deep winter kind of jumper, but I think it might be able to be worn sort of on those slightly warmer winter days. I'm not sure that I'm going to have it ready for this winter, but I am really happy with the progress that I'm making. When I've been knitting, and sometimes when I haven't been knitting but been dreaming about knitting, I've been watching or rewatching the show Nashville, which is currently on Stan. So I've almost finished the whole show. It's got 6 seasons and I'm halfway through season 6. But there are so many really amazing knits in this TV show. There are a couple of patterns that I've really liked the look of and that I would like to make. So one of them is it's a long cabled cardigan with a hood. It's white, and I took a photo off the screen of this one, so I'll pop it in here. For ages, I've actually been thinking about this, and so I need to actually find a pattern that is similar enough that I can then modify it to look how I want it to look. I'm thinking that I will use for this my brushed 8-ply mohair and not dye it, just use it as the white. I think this would take me a while to make, but I really want it. I think that big kind of cozy house jacket coat thing would be amazing. I've got the 4-ply fingering love that I've made for myself, which I love to wear. So a similar style in a thicker yarn would definitely be something that I would put on during winter. The other one, and I have to go back now and find the episode and take a photo of it, but it actually has a similar look to this kind of at the top. And it is, but slightly more open. and it's with like a fuzzy yarn, and it's got some like gold flecks through it. And I think the yarn that I was looking at a few weeks ago, the grey alpaca with the sparkle, might actually be a better fit for something like this. That I open up the gauge a little bit more, use bigger needles, and create some slip stitches or small cables that kind of run down from the neck. The problem with all of these knits that I see on this show is I'm watching the show, so then I forget to take photos. So I need to actually do that a bit more, like literally pause and take a photo. Is that it's hard to find the patterns. Like once you have it in your head, what you really, really want to make, like you want to replicate something, it it's almost impossible to find a pattern that matches. If you're able to find a pattern for me and leave a link, I'd be so appreciative. But I am really struggling to find the the style, the shape, in the gauge that I want. And I don't want to do a whole ton of maths or basically writing a pattern myself, but I'd love to be able to make them. So I think once I've finished watching the whole show, I think we're going to cancel Stan pretty soon. So what I might do is quickly flick back through some of the episodes and see if I can find the knitwear that I was really inspired by and take some photos and keep them in a folder on my phone. And I can, over time, see if I can find some patterns that will be good enough, close enough to be able to do that sort of replication that I would like to do. Isn't it funny where your mind goes when you start watching TV shows and movies and you see knits and all of a sudden you want to make them yourself? So, yeah, that's where I'm at the moment, but definitely wanting to just work on the EXP and those socks and get those done. And then I'll be picking up something else. I'm not sure if I'm going to start something new. Maybe if I find a pattern that matches what I've got in my head, I might do another vest, another male clad vest. I'm really enjoying wearing vests at the moment. Or I don't know. It's kind of, I'm at that fun in between point of enjoying what I'm knitting on, but also getting ready for the next thing. And you can see by my face that I'm really enjoying that creative thought process right now. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Look forward to seeing you next week on the farm.